So Donkey Kong Bonanza is the second big first-party game for the Nintendo Switch 2 after Mario Kart World, and I was definitely very excited for this game. I am a fan of Donkey Kong games, particularly the 2D platformer ones, because the one 3D Donkey Kong game I am not a fan of. I think Donkey Kong 64 is not a very good 3D platformer, especially if you take off your nostalgic glasses, because I had no nostalgia for this game when I first played it in my early 20s, and I just didn't think it was a very good game. So I was curious to see how Donkey Kong would fare with modern technology, but when reviews came out for this game, I was honestly a bit shocked. Seeing so many perfect scores from different outlets and stuff like that, saying it was as good or better than Super Mario Odyssey, one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time, I thought to myself, well, is there a little bit of recency bias with this? Are we just excited that we have a new game for a new system that is evidently very pretty to look at and it plays well? Is there some sort of recency bias going on with this? So I obviously had to get my hands on this game and give you guys the truth about Donkey Kong Bonanza, because when I saw those review scores, I was definitely a bit shocked, like I feel like a lot of people were. So is there substance to those reviews? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. Storyline wise, I know you love to play 3D platformers for a deep and riveting story. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is actually pretty decent in this regard. You play as, surprise, surprise, Donkey Kong, and you're basically starting out the game. You're in a mine, you're looking for these golden bananas and different gems within the mine, and then this company called the Void Company, which is a mining company led by Void Kong and his henchmen, come along, steal the gems, steal the bananas, and now you're out to stop them. Along the way, you meet this little weird rock character that ends up becoming Pauline, and this sets the scene for the game. Pauline obviously is a bit younger than she has been in pretty much every other Mario game that she was involved in, or by extension Donkey Kong game, I should say. So there is some interesting things that happen with that, and you know, maybe there's some other bad guys involved in this as well, besides just the Void Company and Void Kong themselves. I think it plays out in a very interesting manner, and I think they did a pretty good job, all things considered, of making the story pretty captivating. You know, it's not going to win a narrative of the year or anything like that, but it definitely feels a bit of a cut above some other 3D platformers, especially ones that we've gotten from Nintendo in the past. Now, of course, this game is very unique in terms of how it plays, because yes, it's a 3D platformer, but it's like a 3D destruction platformer. Think of games like Red Faction Remastered. Thinks of games like, Mercenaries, The Incredible Hulk to some extent. And like that kind of scratches the surface of what you're able to do in this game. Carve out your own path is not just a cliche saying, it is a staple of how this game plays. Donkey Kong can punch through all these different sorts of surfaces. He can go up in the surfaces, he could go down in the surfaces, left and right within the surfaces. You're going to find things within these surfaces that you didn't think were possible to find. Treasure chest, some of the hidden golden bananas that have been lost to the sands of time, and all of this sort of stuff. And I just love how everything feels. I love how if I see something, there is a very good chance that I can destroy it. And within destroying it, there's going to be things within it that I will end up being able to use that are for my benefit. It really feels like there is a ton of exploration within this game. And the exploration is because it's sort of built into it. I never felt like when I was playing this game, like I was penalized for exploring. Like if I fell off of something, or I thought, I don't know, maybe I can go here, maybe I can't go here, it didn't really matter because I was never penalized. I could always just climb back up or do something like that in order to get to where I was previously. So I really like that, and Donkey Kong has a bunch of moves at his disposal as well, besides just the standard punch. You can jump, you can skateboard, or kind of more like skimboarding, but you could skimboard across surfaces by taking a rock or mud, or there's different types of surfaces, and the different surfaces do kind of different things as far as like speed and damage against enemies are concerned. So the better the surface, the better you're going to have when it comes to traversing with that. You can also do like a double jump off of these things as well. Like, there's so many things that are going on. There's so many collectibles besides just the bananas. You have these special coins, and then you have gold, which do things like you spend them in the shop where you can buy additional golden bananas. There's fossils to collect as well. The fossils are kind of your currency to get new outfits. Your new outfits have different sorts of things that they do when you put them on, so they might be better in a certain situation or in a certain environment than what it would be in another environment. You can dress up Pauline with these fossils as well. Then there's the whole thing going on with these different coins that you have. Like, there's a ton of stuff happening all at once, but I don't feel like it ever really gets to a point of where you feel overwhelmed, because it's kind of like it's not your main focal point. Your main focal point is just to play through the game, do the objectives, do exactly what the game is telling you to do, and then, get to the end level, fight a boss, and then go to the next level. But if you want to take your time, which if you're like me and you like collecting things, you'll want to do that. Like, I think it's so interesting how this game sort of plays, and how it plays into the exploration, the destruction, the all sorts of stuff that you can do within this. And then you can make like Super Donkey Kong as well. That's like a special little thing that you can activate, and he's like a lot stronger and stuff like that. And I just absolutely love it. There's so many different types of gameplay that you encounter just within the main game. That's not even including all of the different side missions that you find as well, the special missions and stuff like that will give you things like additional golden bananas. Their variety in these is absolutely incredible. There are 2D throwback levels. There are throwback levels to deep cuts of Donkey Kong and like where he came from and stuff like that. I'm not going to spoil them all for you, but there are so many different types of special missions that are found within the levels themselves. I just absolutely love it. I love it. I think it's so much fun. There's a fast travel mechanic in the game as well. So if you want to, go to the next area, you don't want 100% the area that you're in, because, well, it's gonna take you quite a long time, pal. You can go back at your leisure and go back to the areas that you've previously visited and check out things within there. So really enjoyable exploration, really rewarding exploration, because it never feels pointless. You just see some big ass rock in the distance. You're like, I'm gonna punch that shit, and you just go up and punch it, and then you might find a treasure chest. You might get some currency. You might find a gold banana. Extremely rewarding, and that continues throughout the game, because every time you get 5 golden bananas, you unlock a skill point. The game does feature a skill tree with different abilities that you unlock as you play throughout the game, so you're constantly tinkering with how Donkey Kong himself plays as you are playing throughout this game, which I think keeps the game fresh as well. There is a co-op mode where you can play with Pauline as well. I didn't mess around with this. I don't really know what she's doing in there, because I'm playing this game by myself, so, whatever. But, like, just the gameplay of this game is so top-notch. I haven't even talked about, like, the DK artist thing, where you can, like, carve and do sculptures and stuff with the Joy-Con mouse, and, I think that's really cool as well, but I haven't spent enough time with that. But I definitely love the gameplay of this game, and I think the presentation also is really, really good. I think the game itself has a very distinct art style, and I really like some of the graphical effects that you see. It looks absolutely gorgeous, whether you're playing it in docked or in handheld mode, but this is a game that I've been primarily playing in docked mode, because I definitely like it a bit more in docked mode. You know, this is kind of the polar opposite of how I was with the Nintendo Switch 1 because I mean, it just didn't look very good on a nice television, whereas Switch 2 games, at least, you know, first party ones and really most of the third party ones have been very visually pleasing when playing it in docked mode, and I think the game shines, man. You know, all of the environments that you encounter are very unique from one another. Donkey Kong himself and Pauline are very animated. I really like what they did with the visual style of this game, and the destruction definitely plays a huge role into that. You put this game on a 4K television, it looks absolutely awesome. The audio design is very well done as well. Pauline has a full voice actress attached to her who does a phenomenal job. I think it sounds really good. The music in the game is very catchy. There's lots of throwback tunes. You can actually find records within levels as well, and you could build these little huts within levels to rest and, you know, regain your heart system, and then you can play those records when you're there. So another collectible, like, you're constantly collecting stuff within this game, but I think the graphics and the audio are just absolutely top notch for the most part. Now, as far as complaints are concerned, I do have a few complaints. You know, I don't think this is a perfect game. I really don't think any game is a perfect game, but you kind of got to weigh the complaints to see, well, how much is it going to affect your enjoyment of the game? Now, we did hear leading up to the release that there were some frame rate drops that happen within this game. All the footage I am showing you guys is recorded by me at 60 frames per second. And yes, there are a few dips here and there when there's a ton of destruction happening or sometimes within the boss battles, but I don't think it's as noticeable as I thought it was going to be. A lot of people kind of made it seem like it was going to be super noticeable, but there's kind of a bit of hesitation when Donkey Kong is punching stuff anyways, and I don't necessarily feel like that is a frame rate issue. I more so feel like that is a stylistic choice, and maybe that's a stylistic choice that they're using to potentially hide a frame rate issue. But there are some dips here and there. There's also some pop-up that happens from time to time, especially if the camera kind of pans out or you pan the camera out and you approach things. You could definitely see some things, you know, generating in the distance and stuff like that. I haven't really found the boss battles to be all that interesting either. I've heard that there are frame rate dips within the boss battles. All the boss battles that I have played thus far, there wasn't really frame rate dips because they weren't really all that challenging. Like, I kind of just brute forced my way through them, and maybe I'm not supposed to do it that way. But so far, I felt like some of the boss battles have been a little bit hit or miss for my liking. The one thing that I probably have the biggest issue with is sometimes you can get very disorientated in this game when you are punching through walls or going underground and stuff like that. The camera kind of gets all crazy a little bit, and you kind of get disorientated to kind of like, okay, well, where the hell am I? Now, you do have a map that helps out, that kind of shows you, you know, where you are as opposed to where you were before, so you could figure that sort of stuff out. But I would say, out of all of my issues, that's probably my biggest issue, would be the fact that the camera can get a little bit crazy when you're doing just like crazy destruction and stuff like that, and, you know, going through all these different layers and stuff. Now we have to come to the question, is this just as good, if not better, than Super Mario Odyssey? Is it better than Astro Bot? Is it better than Super Mario 64? Some of the greatest 3D platformers of all time. This game is in the talks with. And I can honestly say, I do feel like it is definitely up there. Like, I am thoroughly enjoying this game way more than I thought I would be. I'm loving the elements that it brings to the table. I'm loving how it's not just, you know, about platforming. It's more so about destruction leading to platforming. And I love the new ideas and new mechanics that they've introduced, but they still have that Donkey Kong flair. There's callbacks to previous Donkey Kong games. There's mine carts. There's things that will make you feel familiar if you're a fan of Donkey Kong. But if you're not a fan of Donkey Kong, like, you're still going to have a great time with this game if you're not familiar with the previous entries. You know, I did talk about some complaints that I have with the game, but I could talk about complaints that I have with Astro Bot. I can talk about complaints I have with Super Mario Odyssey. I could even complain about Super Mario 64. So if people want to call this one of the best 3D platformers of all time, you know what? I'm going to have to agree with them. I'm going to have to agree with him. And maybe there is a little bit of recency bias. And, you know, maybe a year or two from now, you know, questions will come up, well, where does this game rank? But I feel like just the amount of collectibles in this game gives the game a level of respect that you have to acknowledge, because it's not just it's not just, oh, I got to do this crazy jump or something like that, or, throw Cappy and jump 4 times and hit this building and stuff like that. Like for the moons in Super Mario Odyssey, I feel like it's built into the exploration. Sometimes just going off the beaten path, going in a bit of a different direction, not exactly just running to the next checkpoint, but exploring, looking at the world that you are put in, looking at the levels that you are put into. And I find that to be very rewarding. I find that to be extremely satisfying. And I find that to be really probably the thing that's sticking with me the most with this game. If this is the level of quality, and, Mario Kart World, I know there's people that don't like it because of this, that, and the other. They took this, the modes away and stuff like that. I still think it's a fantastic game. I think it looks great. I think it plays great, and Knockout Tour is brilliant. If this is the level of quality that we're getting 2 months into the system, like, I'm very excited for the future of the Nintendo Switch 2. I just, got to keep your confidence, keep your ego in check, and you'll be good, Nintendo. Let's not get too crazy here. Let's keep most of the game $70, because you don't hear a damn person complaining about $70 for Donkey Kong Bonanza, and there's a reason for that. It is a top tier game. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you plan on picking up Donkey Kong Bonanza for the Switch 2? Is this a system seller? I'm gonna say yes, dog. Like, shit. This might be a better system seller for most people than Mario Kart World. As far as someone who's gonna watch this video, you'll probably love, because Mario Kart World is that casual game. You play it when people come over. You play it for an hour or two. You play online. You mess around. You have fun. But this is like a thoroughly enjoying experience that you can only get within this game. There is no other game like it. There's not a game that you can kind of compare it to. So, yeah, I definitely think it's a top-notch title. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.